What's up, creeps? All right. um, what's up, creeps? I'm doing this video just to show my process when I make an estimate for Nick's BMWorks. I don't know if this is how you're supposed to do it, or the norm, or how other people do it, but that's how I've been doing it for almost 2 years now. Man, it seems to work for me. So, if anyone else is curious, this is what I do. So, this customer, well, we're going to use not their name for this. I'll change it later. But this customer has a 2013 X5 35i, and she wants the oil filter housing gasket done. So, we'll go through and make this estimate for that job. So this is the main screen. This is your template that pre-fills for every estimate. So I tell them if you basically, if I can, I'll use OE parts. If there's not an OE equivalent, then we're using genuine BMW. However, if you're not comfortable with that, let me know, and we'll make sure we're only using BMW parts. And then if there is an aftermarket part being used, which in this case there will be, it'll be specifically noted on the estimate. And then finally, the credit card fee. No one likes credit card fees, so I try to at least give the option of if you don't want to pay that, then bring me some cash. Alright, so the last 7 of her VIN are 0 Bravo 21339. Search. Okay, comes up. LCI E70 35i with the M55. 11/12 production date. Okay, so we'll go into engine and oil filter. Okay, so basically we're replacing all of this. So we're going to replace 3, 4, 5, and 12. I also typically throw on all of the bolts because they're soft, they're sensitive. You don't know who's been in there before. I've had multiple times where they're stripped out. People using hex head sockets on them and such. So I just don't even want to mess with it. So basically, we replace everything. All right. So start with the oil filter. So basically, what I do, my process goes like I get the part number from real OEM, or sometimes I'll find it in here and bounce it back with real OEM just to make super sure that I'm getting the right thing, because I just absolutely cannot have where I have a customer's car sitting here and I've accidentally ordered the wrong part and now we're at a standstill until I get that part. Now I do have roll pack as a backup. You know, it's there. I don't use it that much, but it is there, and I can, you know, I can get parts here if I need to. So, all right. So we'll come. Let's start with the oil filter. So like for something like this, you know, sometimes it's just faster to come here. And right now my markup I'm doing is 40%. So I add 40% to whatever this is because it is a business. So we're here to make money. So so yeah. So we'll take 919. Okay. And let's see, let me just do this. Go like that. That's not what I wanted. Okay. And we'll go like this. Okay. Alright. So, boom. So, oil filter. Okay. Okay. And then we'll say add tax, 7%. Price, we're going to be, so 919 times 0.4 plus 919. Okay. And then round up to the nearest tenth, so 1287 will be our price on that. That's it. And then this here, this, you know, calculates your tax. Gives you a total. Okay. So, next. Check that off. We'll do the oil pressure sensor. So, number 12. Over here. This says OE, but, you know, look at the ratings and then look at the price difference. You know, it's a couple dollars. I'm not sure what. Let's see why it's rated so bad. Well, I haven't bothered having a Chinese-made version of the same price as German. So they're saying it's made in China. That doesn't, you know, that it shouldn't say OE. This is the OE sensor with the BMW logo removed. Fit good and worked well. The old one failed, blah, blah, blah. Is leaking oil. 25 minutes later, I peeled off the made in China sticker. Yeah, so for a couple dollars, you know, we're going with BMW on that. Okay. So, our part number, and let's see. Add tax. Okay, and then we got 5520 times 0.4 plus 5520. Plus 5520, so we have 7728. Okay. Next, so we can, that's checked off. Okay. Alright, so 3, okay, let's go in order now. So 4. So oil filter housing gasket, number 4. Okay. So here we have the L-ring version. Great ratings. However, it's not OE. It's OEM, but this is not the OE for this part. As a business, I can't, you know, that's my whole thing is I only put in your car what came from the factory, and this did not. So we have to go with BMW here. Okay. Add tax. Boom, boom. So 34.55. Plus 34.55. 48.37. For a gasket. How about it? Okay. Now that was 4. Let's go to 5 for the oil cooler gasket. Same deal. BMW. And we have 35.46. Man. $49.64. Okay. Next is all hardware. So 6, 7, 8. So 6. Boom, tax, price. So 232 times 0.4 plus 232, 325. Okay. Okay, that was 6. Let's go to 7. Okay. Price 435, 4 plus 435, 609. Okay. And last housing bowl is going to be number 8. Let's see, that was number 7. Number 8 is the yeah, number 7 is a super long one. Number 8 is a short. Well, number 8 is a medium one. 6 is the super short one. Oh, never mind. I got it messed up. 8's the long one because it goes through this whole part here. Okay. Add tax and price. 568 times 0.4 plus 568. 795. Okay. So that's all the housing bolts. And then we've got the cooler bolts. These are all the same. There's 3 each. Let's come here. These are expensive. It's crazy how much these are, watch. $15 for a bolt, dude. That's crazy. So we've got oil cooler bolt, BMW, add tax, and we have 3 of these. Price 12.99 times 0.4 plus 12.99, 18.19. Great year. 18.19. Okay. So that's pretty much all that. Alright. So we got all these bolts, bolt, 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 gasket, gasket, filter, sensor. Word. That's all we need there. Now, the next thing we need is the charge pipe O-ring. So come here into fuel prep. And come down here to air ducting, and we want number 26. Our charge pipe comes up, blah, blah, blah. We want that O-ring there, so 26. O-ring. And yeah. Okay. That works. That's less than half the BMW price, so I'll take that. So, V&E this. And add tax. Price 731 times 0.4. 731. 1023. Okay. Charge pipe O-ring. Next thing we need is intake manifold. Gaskets. I don't know if those are in here. This might be. See, this when you don't know what section it's in, it's kind of. This is when I'll bounce over to FCP and skirt. Here we go. 2. So this is a whole set. So you only need 1 each, and we can confirm that by going here. It's a whole set. Okay. Intake, manifold, gasket, set. Add tax, price. 4019 times 0.4 plus 4019. 5627. Okay. Intake manifold gasket set. Alright. What else? Mickey Mouse flange. I know hers is original, so we need the whole shebang. This is what we use here. Everybody uses this. So we'll go right. Okay. $24.09 times 0.4 plus 24. $33.73. Okay. Yeah, so that's pretty much the gist of it. That's all our parts that we need for this job. Anything else? Intake manifold, charge pipe, oh, coolant. Gotta bleed coolant. Get some of this here. $28.45. $28.45. Okay, we'll call that good. All right, now labor. Spell that out here. So labor is 125 per hour times 5 hours. If there's more than one job going on, I'll break it down. So I'll say, times 5 hours, and I'll be like, oil change, diff, fluid, trans service. And I'll put, I know there's like 2.5 hours, diff fluid. If it's the bag, it's 0.5, oil change, 0.5, so we spell it all out. But if it's just the one thing that we're doing, it's pretty cut and dry. Save. So, boom, boom. Boom, and then finally, take 1040 91 times square charge is 3.3%, so that comes out at 34.35. Okay. Now, remember, like I said, this can be completely removed if you bring cash. All right. And that's pretty much it. So we'll make sure all that is right and send it off. Gives you a preview, blah 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 blah, sends you an estimate, and I break down, and I always do this on every job. I break down every part number that's going in your car. Um, you see different things from different shops. They might just say gasket, and it's like, what are you putting in the car? I think it's important for people to see. I had one recently where the lady was getting a quote from another shop for a heat management module on a G20, and sometimes it's just people don't understand, and you can't get through to them. But they came back to her with like $2,600, and this is for the heat management module and the oil filter housing. And then she came to me and she was like, "What would you charge?" And so I built I did all this for her, and honestly, it came out to within like $50 of their quote. But I know the shop, and I guarantee they're using aftermarket parts, and they're upcharging those parts. And even with the difference is the reason I'm way less than every other shop, but I was close to them because I'm using genuine parts. I'm using a BMW oil filter housing, and all that stuff, and that's why it came out. But I don't think that she just doesn't get that. It's like there's a reason why they're close in price, but there's a difference in the parts. So I never heard from her again. It is what it is. But anyways, so that's that. So I'll send that off to the customer, and once they accept it, I send this, and then let's see, we'll save that. So I send that, and then this is my service agreement. This just goes through all the nonsense of all the CYA stuff, but I send this over. A lot of hoopla in here. One important one is if your car comes in with an oil leak, and I don't fix that oil leak, or you decline to have it fixed, whatever. I have another one that you have to sign that says that if your car catches on fire and burns to the ground, it's not my fault, and that we knew about this oil leak when the car came in. And that's pretty much the biggest thing. This here says I can, because I post every car I do on Instagram. This basically just says that I can record your car, make videos of your car, take pictures of your car, post stuff about your car, but I won't use, I won't post your VIN or your license plate, or things on your registration. All right, so and then we'll go. 1 second, we'll go look at the oil leak one. All right, this is the oil leak one. It just says there's a risk of fire. Don't drive the car. I'm not liable, and I'm released from any liability. That's pretty much it. So yeah, that's everything. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up, or any tips, things that I could do better or improve on, or that would make it easier for me, because I go through this on every job, and someday I'll pay for the shop management software, TechMetric or whatever, but for my volume and what I do, this works okay. It'd be nice to have like a inventory where I could just be like, have the gaskets saved, or have the coolant flange, the Mickey Mouse flange. Everybody gets one of those, so it'd be cool to have that saved. Or like oil changes, every time you do an oil change, just to have that in there and have those prices and those parts for the liquid moly stuff. It would be nice, but it is what it is for now. So, but yeah, thanks.